Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney. Brains, you are back at another amazing interview and intersection, the road between you and our guest and the stories that are impacting the world today. This here is the place where the conversations are pointed, the guests are sharp, the responses are never dull. And today is no different than any other day. We have Donna Laitinen, and I am so excited to talk to her. I think she just came back from Las Vegas, Sin City, doing an amazing event there. I want to talk to her about that. But Donna is very unique in what she does. She is a best-selling author. She's a speaker, and she is a behavior change specialist. Those habits, those patterns, or as my Australian people say, them patterns, they will get you caught up in a spin cycle, and you will end up in a deafening echo chamber of pain. You will never be able to see the forest for the trees because you will be so self-absorbed in that. So how do we change our behavior? How do we change it to make it more productive? How do we change to be the person that, that we want to be? Not that others want us to be, but innately. How do we figure out who it is that we truly are designed to be? So we're going to talk to Donna about that and a whole lot more. Welcome her to the show. How are you today, Donna?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
You
Thank
always
you.
have the prettiest earrings on.
Oh, thank you.
You do.
Yeah, these was Sedona in Sedona.
I know. I'm getting ready to head to Thailand. I hope I have an empty suitcase because I'm bringing back everything. Everything.
I'm with you.
So tell us a little bit about how you show up in the world and what you did in Las Vegas.
Well, I always show up the best I can, the best version I am, with an open heart and ready to receive and willingly give. I was just out in Las Vegas, you're right. And I was meeting with Hope for Prisoners. And they're looking to restructure their programs. Specifically, I'm going to be working with women that are incarcerated, sentenced for 3 to 6 years. And I'm going to be working with them, basically nurturing self-love and forgiveness. Because as these women re-enter the world, right, and integrate, they need to exude, self-confidence and optimism and self-esteem. And it really begins with self-love and forgiving and letting go of the shame, blame, guilt, and judgment, right?
And that's going to be a challenge for them. And I say this from outside looking in, because you got that outside influence. Oh, girl, what you going to do now that you done got out of prison? You can't get no job because you just got out of prison. They keep putting that back on you. It's like a person that's gotten off alcohol. Well, how long have you been clean? So I just encourage them to stay in the moment. This is who you are. This is your testimony. And there's no shame associated with it. If you didn't know that, you wouldn't know anything different. So I thank you for pouring into them, helping them with this behavioral change, because it is going to be a challenge. They're getting out. They've been away from their kids. They've been away from, the normal activities day to day. They're not being told what to do, what to eat, what to wear, where to go. So it's a whole mindset shift. How do we start looking honestly at our behaviors? Because there's those people that want to put it off on somebody else. Oh, I'm the victim, or, this is somebody else's stuff. How do we start looking at ourselves realistically before we are able to work with someone like you to make a change?
Well, April, that was me. That was me, what you just described. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I feel if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's a continuing learning process, of course, but it begins with awareness of our thoughts, and that we have control over our thoughts. That's the very beginning, I feel, is knowing that every thought that we have a choice to let it in or keep it at bay in general. And then every feeling that we let in, every thought we let in, we have a feeling. And every feeling, we're either going to react or we're going to respond to it. And then that's our behavior, and that's the results that we get. So going back to the thought, like deciding, making a conscious decision. Do I want this thought? And I'm not saying it's easy. That's why this is all behavior change. It's being able to initially catch the thought, just notice that unwanted thought, that negative thought, that thought that evokes, and what I'm referring to is thoughts that come spontaneous, but also thoughts that we recycle over and over again, right? Breaking those patterns.
Right. It's that, again, that's that deafening echo chamber in our brain. I've had that a couple nights ago, and last night too. I had a certain thought in my head. I guess it was something I saw on TV or whatever, and I couldn't shake it. And I'm good at NLP, neuro linguistic programming. I know how to talk to myself. And I was like, why can't I just shake this? So I really feel and recognize the individual that has experienced trauma, that their every thought, their every move. Outside of changing our behavior, I think we need to also maybe consider changing our circle of influence. Would you agree?
Right, absolutely. One thing that you had mentioned with the trauma is taking time to work with it, understand it, and find some sort of resolution with it. Something that is a blessing in that trauma, in that obstacle. And even if you can't see it in the moment, just have this faith. And I know this is a stretch for a lot of us, and it was for me too. But having this faith that someday it will show up and it will be clear as day is why, I went through this. And like, even with the Hope for Prisoners, they making resolution, finding something good that came out of that experience, right, is going to help propel forward.
Absolutely. So dial back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your story, your journey, and your truth.
Okay, I call it my healing landscape. And in pretty much in a condensed version, my son came to me one day telling me that he was wishing for disease to take his life. Because he didn't want to actually commit suicide and have me find him. He was a young adult. And immediately I felt shame, blame, guilt. How could I not know as a mother, right? All those. And I found myself curled up in a ball in the dark in the corner, right? And I wasn't able to help myself, let alone help my son. So that was the beginning. I feel like I want to call it my breakdown to my spiritual breakthrough. Because it was at that time that brought me to my knees and I was asking for help. And I found myself at the beach and I drew a big heart in the sand and I wrote my son's name, the date he was born, and help. And in that moment, I felt this knowing that everything was going to be okay. I didn't feel like I was alone for the first time in a while. I felt like there was a presence with me. And I knew, right? I just knew that I didn't really know how, but I knew it was going to work out. And I just held on to that and hope, right? That's our inspiration, our soul, our knowing. Went home, and for like 6 months, nonstop, every morning I got up, went out on the porch and did this meditation where I visualized my son's a cord going from my heart to his heart, and just a ball of light pushing through. And I could see forgiveness and compassion and love. And ultimately, as the balls of light went down along the cord into his heart, I could see him smile again. And I could see his eyes twinkle again. And it was that helped me believe and keep going. And I just kept that. And what happened because of that practice, I feel, I really don't have the concrete explanation, but when we take on this faith, and it's really faith versus fear, right? What ended up happening, I was able to show up for my son in a different way. Stop judging him, telling him what to do, how to do it, and literally just believing in him and accepting him for who he is, and acknowledging when he was doing, getting back on track. So it allowed me to show up in a way that I never thought I could as a mom.
Can I ask you a tough question? Do you think that a lot of the way that he was feeling was because of the influence of you and others? Or do you think that there might have been something, not a self-loathing, but a discontentment with himself that caused him to feel
Well,
this way?
I think it's a both, but I definitely do feel I was a contributor in the sense of I wasn't aware of the energy that I was exuding out to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to fix him. But what I realized, I was the one who needed fixing first, through self-love and forgiveness of myself, to show up for him with the light and the sacred space that he needed to travel this journey back to his well-being.
Were you a single parent?
For a little while I was, but
Because that can be
yes.
an impact on you as well as him. That's not, that's not a judgment. It's just trying to, to frame that. Do you think that some of the things that you needed to forgive yourself for were epigenetics, things that were passed down to you from your parents or other people?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. Maybe not all of it, but as I delved into this work, definitely it became very clear and evident understanding what paradigms are and how they can influence us and condition us to think a certain way. That's why I feel like once we're aware of that, we can really start to peel back that onion, they say,
And identify exactly where is this coming from. This is something that, that my mother, that her mother told her,
Right.
or her grandmother. I look at my family, Native American, but they took on the identity, because I trace this back to 1839, and my grandmother was in a slave encampment, concentration camp, whatever you want to call it, but she was illiterate. She couldn't read. And so education for her 9 kids was not paramount, because if they could just do the basics, that was more than what she was able to do. And if they didn't have to, be a slave to somebody, they were doing great. And then I look at, my mom. My mom was an excellent, wonderful mother, but she only went to school till she was 15. And then she got pregnant. But my grandmother never taught her those things because they weren't taught to her. So I see that. But my mother broke the cycle with me and told me, a different story. She reframed it. You're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're worthy. This is what I need for you. This is what I need you to think about you, because she had become more worldly. So it becomes a point in life, brains, that you can break the cycle. You don't have to continue to do it. Yes, you are the person that went through that, but you don't have to continuously disseminate that down to your children or your grandchildren. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. And it's life-changing, April, as you know, for future generations, when you are aware and acknowledge, and you can break through those limitations that were just in our minds, right? But they show up physically as well.
Oh, yeah.
They can show up, these kinds of thoughts and patterns can affect us physically.
Oh, yeah. It can show up in disease, mental illness, in your finances, building relationships with others, intimacy. It shows up in a whole bunch of different ways. And you never really realize, that's like some women or men okay, that fall in love with the same type of individual that was destructive. But that is familiar. They know how to work that. It's comfortable for them. It's the comfort of being uncomfortable, and it's dangerous. But until we show someone better, they can't do better. So now, Donna, what do you do with the person that's changed their behavior? Because now they're identifying with a whole new set of circumstances, with a whole new subset, a whole new individual. That's a lot to contend with as well.
It is. And the book turned into a program. So how I work with people individually and through facilitating is, one behavior change at a time, because repetition is key with learning, and we want to learn in an elevated state of mind. So I always start with something uplifting, positive affirmation, empowerment, connection. There's many ways we can begin our learning sessions in a few minutes to elevate and lift us up after, a day that may have been, disheveled. And then we go through a lesson, and there's an experiential learning activity. So it's all embedded on this one behavior change, and they practice it. I have participants practice it for a whole week, right? Which doesn't sound like a long time, but they're just rereading that same module and practicing the positive affirmation, reading the theory, reading the sharing in the extraordinary journey. So it's really consistency and understanding that this is a change. So do not beat yourself up when you don't catch a thought, right? It's being able to say, oh, thank you. Next time I'll choose differently. I know better now, or I can make a better. It's okay. Because if we beat ourselves up over it, we're not making as much progress as we could, right?
And you got to reward for effort. You got to reward yourself and acknowledge the fact that at least I tried. Nothing surpasses.
Yeah, be proud.
So tell us about the book. You created this book. Show us the book and tell us what's inside the pages of this wonderful book.
So this is the book, The Highest Frequencies of Love. And this book was written for parents with children on the spectrum, and it's unconventional solutions. So the book, just like what I was saying, the book turned into a program, but the book is designed with each chapter having a methodology and a process of changing a behavior to in each behavior we're substituting negative, unwanted thoughts, behavior, and actions, and implementing and anchoring them in with desired thoughts, behavior, and actions.
Wow.
So the book is designed to help each individual be able to make progress in that area with positive affirmations, with a theory, a lesson, and then sharing in the extraordinary journey. So especially for this community, there's a lot of shame, blame, and guilt and disempowering questions like, why me? Why my child, right? And so there's a section in here that's sharing the extraordinary journey, which are therapists, educators, doctors, moms and dads who have already flipped that switch of thinking. And the awareness to connect with them, that we can connect on a higher level. We know that these individuals, these kids are highly sensitive. We already know that, that's scientific. So what they have the ability is that they can feel the energy that we exude, but they can identify when our thoughts are one energy, our words are another energy, because every word holds light and energy. It's either going to be uplifting or dimming us, right? And then our body language is another energy.
Right.
So they know sometimes that this is not authentic because they have all these mixed energies that they're receiving, and it can be overwhelming, and they can shut down, right? They can back away from this. So with mom and dad, it can be very helpful, or teachers or anybody really, it can be helpful being aware of that, that these individuals are, thinking that they're broken or there's something wrong with them because the energy they're receiving is that feeling of energy of, mom and dad are sad because of me. They're, whatever the feeling is that they're feeling, disappointment, or why don't I have more friends, right? They can feel that energy. So when mom and dad are aware of this, they can choose to work on uplifting and raising their energy so that there's more peace and harmony within the home to
Right.
start,
Well,
yeah.
and that's great because that's the frequency, that's the vibration, and it will resonate.
Yeah.
It's like, skipping rocks on the water. Donna, you have an amazing offering that you want to extend to my brains. Tell them a little bit about that.
Yes, I want to offer all of you a 20-minute complimentary higher activation experience with me. That's where you come with a situation that you want to improve upon, and then I'll give you a couple of tools and you'll instantly be able to shift your energy into a more elevated space to work on whatever situation it is.
Well, I'm excited about that. I got a couple people I'm gonna send your way because I know that they need to. Again, I'm not judging you. My behavior is not always stellar. I don't usually say that out loud, but it isn't. But there's certain patterns, certain repetition,
Absolutely.
and so whatever that can be, and it's your behavior. It's like my brother. He couldn't have a drink. If he had a drink, it would totally take him to another thing. Now maybe he needs more than just a behavioral change. I think he needs support in other areas, but they are a duality. They go together. Just because you get off the substance doesn't mean that you're not mean anymore. Just because you
Right.
get by Twinkies today doesn't mean that you don't have an eating disorder. So again, it's the mindset work. So thank you so much for that, and we are definitely going to take advantage, right, Brains?
Okay, thank you.
You see how it just keeps reverberating. How did you become so smart, Donna?
Through experience, right?
Yeah.
And I do really feel, I have to say, I know that I'm co-creating this book, the book and the program, because I never set out to be an author. I got a direct thought, Donna. Yeah, it was pretty intense and it was pretty amazing. And I just kind of surrendered for some reason. I'm like, okay. And I went home and I wrote.
Mm-hmm. See how you have downloads, Brains, how things happen to you. I never thought, I knew at 5 years old that I was meant to be a communicator, but I didn't know what that was. Was I going to be a teacher? Was I going to be a preacher? I had no idea that it was going to be through media, through books, because I was dyslexic. Not severe, but bad enough to hinder me. So with all of that, I had no idea that this was going to be the lane that I was going to drive in and help be that conduit and a way for information for people to come through and to receive. With all of this knowledge, though, you personally sound like you're a bit empathic. Are you empathic? Yeah. So you feel a lot of people's energies. You can feel their pain. You can also feel their joy. Um, how does that make you feel? Because that's a heavy load. That's a lot to carry.
It is, but I feel blessed that I can choose to. I feel at this stage where I am at with feeling energy, that I can choose again to allow it in or not.
Mm.
I feel like I'm equipped. Also, if you don't mind, I would just like to say something further about the kids on the spectrum. Their potential to influence our world is overlooked or hidden, I want to say, to the greatness that they can offer our world and to influence it, because people aren't tapped in and tuned in. So that's part of what this is all about. is helping people understand there's another whole language, a unique way to communicate. And I call it the universal language of love, right? Being able to feel energy. And yeah, so that's a big part of it too. And it's usually stemmed from fear, you know, fear of not knowing what they're going to say or how they're going to react, right? It doesn't have to do with them. It has to do with us, our fear. So that's part of what this whole book is trying to break through, that fear barrier.
That and it's this thing called expectations. That's
Mm-hmm.
we gotta lighten up on that, brains. You know, because I expect one thing, that's my expectation. I can't hold Donna responsible for that. You know, that's what I expected her to do. Maybe she's not up for the task. Maybe she doesn't want to do it. Maybe she's overwhelmed about it. Or maybe she's excited about it. You never know. But having that conversation with someone, um, being open to a no, that's not for me, being open to rejection. Everybody's not down with what you're down with. That is a part of the process. That's a part of the growth. My mother used to tell me all the time, could you imagine if you got every cotton picking thing you wanted? You'd be a hot mess. So
So true.
don't have the expectations for people. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain things, that a spouse expects another spouse to do, or you expect your kids to clean up after themselves. Those are the basic things. But life skills, like I expect for you to never have a drink. That's unrealistic. I expect for you to stay under this religious doctrine to the day that you die. That's unrealistic. You know, certain things. So have some leadway, have some flexibility with people. Now, we've gotten to my favorite part of the interview. I want to ask you some questions. Okay? These are some of my favorite.
Okay.
If your words, Donna, represented a color, what color would they represent?
White.
Mm, that's big. That's big. That's bright. That's bold. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Oh, well, I'm gonna say the refrigerator.
The refrigerator? Why?
Because not everybody's so lucky to have one. And it's a way to keep our food fresh and tasty. And yeah,
Yeah.
I feel very blessed that I have a fridge. And I love to eat.
I want to be the teapot. I want to blow off a little steam every now and then. I want to keep it hot. That's good.
Oh, I like that.
I'll be the teapot. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
I would be a cheetah.
Ooh. Are you quick and slick? Why would you be a cheetah?
Oh, also fox comes in there.
A fox?
Yeah, a fox or a cheetah. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the fox.
Okay. Why would you want to be a fox?
Oh, I just think they're super smart and savvy and beautiful. Um, they have this charisma about them, right? Uh, they're good with relationships.
They are. And they're good parents
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they are also, and I say this with love, a little bit of a pet predator. You get a fox in the hen house, you see what goes down in there.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. But that's with any animal, really.
That's with any animal. That's with any animal. If you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
Oh, I'm gonna say, I want to say a Jeep, like an outdoorsy Jeepy kind of car where I can just, I'm an outdoor girl. I love having my kayak and my paddleboard and be able to like pack a lunch or a picnic. And I just, the 4-wheel drive, I don't know. I like having the openness when I'm driving.
Mm. I tell people all the time, I want to be a 1974 VW van with all the psychedelic colors and the hippiness and a mattress in the back and a big old hookah pipe, all that great stuff.
Oh, that does sound fun.
That would be fun for me. So I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my socks because my heart isn't deep enough. Number one, for you to take your experience, your love, and your knowledge and pour that into women that are trying to come back and have some sort of normalcy or to reinvent their lives. That takes a lot. It's a lot on you because you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to pick that population. I'm sure that they appreciate you. Thank you for writing the book. I'm proud of you that being able to reconnect with your son and help him elevate to his highest level and so much more. I'd love for people to contact you, work with you. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you.
Okay, well, my email is dlaitinen@evokechangecenter.com. And then I have evokechangecenter.com website that's being worked on right now as we speak, because there's been so many changes and good yummy stuff. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, all that stuff.
Well, brains, go right here. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe. We're going to put all of Donna's information there in the back so that you are able to connect with her. If you have a child that's on the spectrum, if you need some support, if you need to change your behavior. How about that one? That right there. Contact
Right.
her because she's there for you and she is dedicating her life for the betterment of mankind and womankind. Thank you so much again, Donna, for being here on the edge. You are the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, brains. Have an amazing day. I'm counting on you.